To the outside world, Kamikaze Chris was the embodiment of fearless speed, a street racing icon who fearlessly pushed his machines and himself to the absolute limit. Behind the wheel of his menacing flat black El Camino, he was a force of nature, a driver whose will to win seemed utterly unstoppable. Street racing, however, is a ruthless game, a high-stakes world where even the most skilled drivers, the most audacious risk-takers, cannot always outrun the relentless hand of fate. Just when Kamikaze Chris seemed to have cemented his legacy, carving his name into the annals of street racing history, disaster struck with brutal, unforgiving force, turning his world upside down in a heartbeat. So what really happened on that fateful day? What series of events led to the devastating crash that nearly claimed his car and threatened to extinguish his fiery spirit? And where does Kamikaze Chris go from here, after facing the ultimate test of his resilience? This is the heartbreaking yet ultimately inspiring story of Kamikaze Chris, the man behind the legend, and the tragedy that changed everything, forging a new chapter in his already remarkable journey. Chris, the man behind the Kamikaze persona and that menacing flat black El Camino on Street Outlaws, doesn't fit the typical mold of a street racing powerhouse. He's not the braggadocious type, not the one to boast about his skills or his rides. In fact, by all accounts, he was never supposed to make it in the cutthroat world of street racing. Yet time and time again, against all odds, he shatters expectations, defying the doubters and roaring past the finish line. And here's the thing about Kamikaze Chris. It was never part of some grand, calculated plan. Life, with its unpredictable twists and turns, simply steered him down this high-octane road. And he, the ultimate underdog, ran with it, full throttle. Because for Chris, embracing the underdog role isn't just a persona, it's the story of his life. It's all he has ever known. Growing up in a working-class home, nestled in a tough corner of Oklahoma City, Chris didn't have much handed to him. In his own stark words, his family wasn't just struggling. They were, plain and simple, flat out broke. Not just the tight-on-money kind of broke, but the kind where hand-me-down clothes weren't just second-hand. They were worn thin, stained with time and hardship, and already well past their prime. If he wanted anything beyond the bare necessities, beyond the basics of survival, it was on him to figure out, to hustle, to earn. And for Chris, in those lean years, there was only one thing truly worth chasing, one burning desire that eclipsed all others: racing. But not cars, not initially at least. Chris's first love, his first taste of speed and competition, came on dirt bikes. If you ask him today, he'll tell you with a shrug that he's not necessarily a car guy. He's a racing guy, pure and simple. If it's got wheels, anything with an engine and the promise of speed, he'll race it. A dirt bike, a shopping cart, probably even a lawnmower, if you lined one up in front of him and threw down a challenge. By the time he was barely 3 years old, he was already perched atop a motorcycle, the rumble of the engine a primal symphony in his young ears, and he never, ever looked back. While most kids his age were content playing in the park, building sandcastles, Chris was relentlessly working, tirelessly hustling, taking every odd job he could find, just to keep his beloved bike running. Mowing lawns under the scorching Oklahoma sun, chopping trees with calloused hands, pumping gas for impatient drivers, anything to scrape together the cash for his next ride, his next race. Twice a week, religiously, he lined up at the starting gate, a David amongst Goliaths, racing against riders nearly twice his age, their bikes bigger, their experience vastly superior. But that didn't faze him, didn't intimidate him in the slightest. He possessed a burning hunger to win, an insatiable love for speed, and a relentless work ethic that set him apart, even then, from the pack. That unwavering work ethic, that grit and grind, he inherited directly from his dad, a successful drag boat racer himself, a man who lived by one simple, unbreakable rule: you break it, you fix it. Chris took that mantra to heart, etching it into his very being. From a battered BMX bike to his first sputtering dirt bike, every upgrade, every repair, every ounce of progress was earned through sweat and sacrifice. And once he got that first intoxicating taste of real competition, the raw thrill of speed, and the sweet taste of victory. There was simply no stopping him. Right around that pivotal time in his life, when his passion for racing was truly igniting, Kamikaze Chris crossed paths with Justin Big Chief Shearer. It was a chance encounter, a meeting of kindred spirits, like two puzzle pieces, seemingly disparate, suddenly, perfectly snapping into place. Both were fiercely competitive, driven by an almost primal need to win. Both lived and breathed cars, gasoline fumes their preferred cologne, and neither one, not Kamikaze, not Big Chief, ever backed down from a challenge, no matter how daunting, how improbable the odds. In fact, it was Kamikaze Chris, in a moment of playful camaraderie, who first bestowed upon Justin Shearer that now iconic nickname, Big Chief, a moniker that would stick, becoming synonymous with street racing royalty. But their bond, the friendship that would define their lives for years to come, wasn't just forged in the heat of competition on the asphalt battlegrounds of Oklahoma City. It was forged in the late-night grind of the garage, under the harsh glare of work lights, amidst the clang of wrenches and the pungent smell of motor oil. Kamikaze Chris wasn't just the fast-talking, faster-driving showman behind the wheel. He was the unsung hero, the quiet force out in the driveway night after night, wrenching tirelessly on Big Chief's legendary 1972 Pontiac Le Mans, affectionately nicknamed the Crow. To them, it wasn't just a car. It was something far more profound. It was the foundation of their friendship, a symbol of their shared passion, the machine they built with their own hands, one grease-stained late-night fix at a time. That invaluable hands-on experience, that deep-seated understanding of engines and horsepower, set Kamikaze Chris irrevocably on his own path. First, he acquired a humble Chevy Liuve pickup, a workhorse transformed into a street machine with a throbbing small block under the hood. Then came a Blazer, equally unassuming on the outside, equally potent within, also packing a roaring small block. And eventually, inevitably, came an A-body Chevelle, a true muscle car canvas for his racing ambitions. That Chevelle, though, that was something else entirely. A 1971 beast, slathered in a loud, almost garish emerald green paint job that looked like it belonged on a base boat, not a race car. It wasn't pretty, not by conventional standards, but it radiated raw attitude, a defiant, unapologetic style. And it was undeniably fast, running nines with brutal consistency, tearing up the streets, a real rowdy piece of machinery that perfectly embodied Kamikaze Chris's own unbridled spirit. But cars, in the world of street racing, are ephemeral things, constantly evolving, constantly being pushed to their breaking points. They come and go, iterations and upgrades in an endless pursuit of speed and dominance, and the relentless game, the high-stakes dance with danger, never stops. Kamikaze Chris remained tightly knit with a core group of OKC racers, a brotherhood forged in fire, who weren't just out there to cruise, to show off, to bask in the scene. They were out to dominate, to push the boundaries of street racing, to claim the crown of OKC's fastest. For Kamikaze, Big Chief, Dave, Comtco, and the rest of their tight-knit crew, racing wasn't just a hobby, not just something to do on a Saturday night. It was a serious, all-consuming obsession, a relentless pursuit of adrenaline and victory. That unwavering dedication, that fierce commitment showed in every aspect of Kamikaze Chris's driving. If he had to muscle the car down the road, wrestling with the steering wheel, fighting for traction just to snatch a win, that's exactly what he did, without hesitation, without compromise. He wasn't reckless, not in the true sense of the word. He was calculated, precise, his risks measured and deliberate. But he pushed harder, went deeper into the danger zone than most, always riding that razor-thin line between masterful control and utter chaos. And that's precisely where the nickname Kamikaze came from, a moniker that perfectly captured his fearless, all-or-nothing driving style. He had a preternatural ability, a seemingly innate talent for making even the wildest, most unpredictable situations look almost effortless. To Kamikaze Chris, driving wasn't just a skill, it was pure, unadulterated instinct. While some people needed a stiff drink to unwind, needed distractions to escape the pressures of life, Kamikaze Chris found his peace, his center, at full throttle, barreling down the asphalt, inches from disaster, the world a blur of speed and adrenaline. That's where he truly thrived. The rush, the heart-stopping edge, the pure, unadulterated adrenaline of knowing he was pushing both himself and his car to the absolute limit, flirting with the very boundaries of control. That was what made him feel alive, truly alive. And it wasn't long before that raw, no-holds-barred attitude, that undeniable talent, got him noticed by a much wider audience. When Kamikaze Chris joined Big Chief on Street Outlaws in its explosive third season, he brought that raw, untamed energy, that unapologetic intensity to the television screen, captivating viewers with his fearless driving and his no-nonsense persona. The show, with its gritty authenticity and high-octane drama, helped take drag racing from the fringes of society to the mainstream, catapulting it into a global phenomenon. And Kamikaze Chris, with his undeniable charisma and his breathtaking driving skills, quickly became one of the most talked about, most debated racers in the entire country. A household name synonymous with speed, danger, and unwavering determination. And with that newfound fame, that hard-earned recognition, he became the proud owner of what many argue is, quite simply, the most famous El Camino in the entire street racing game. Now, before Chris ever laid his own grease-stained hands on the El Camino, transforming it into the legend it is today, the car belonged to his childhood friend, Tyler "Flip" Pretty. Pretty much everybody in the OKC racing scene simply called it the Elco, a term of endearment, a shorthand for a car that was so much more than just metal and engine parts. It was a Frankenstein build, a testament to ingenuity and resourcefulness, painstakingly pieced together with all the leftover parts, the discarded scraps, from their friends' various car projects, the automotive equivalent of a patchwork quilt. But that humble, cobbled-together origin story didn't stop the Elco from carving out a name for itself, from becoming a force to be reckoned with. When Flip Pretty rolled up in that battered, defiant El Camino in the very first season of Street Outlaws, that car had everybody talking. It was loud, unapologetically obnoxious, and, let's be honest, straight up ridiculous in its raw, unrefined glory. Those zoomy headers, spitting fire and nitrous-fueled flames right out of the fenders, became iconic, a visual representation of the car's untamed power. And the whispered rumors, the almost mythical tales about how it was actually held together, only added to the El Camino legend. People swore, with a wink and a nod, that it was patched up with little more than silicone sealant, JB Weld, duct tape, and enough Bondo body filler to fill a swimming pool. But the truth was, beneath the rough-around-the-edges exterior, beneath the layers of legend and lore, the Elco, in Flip's capable hands, was undeniably, brutally fast. And when Flip, with his signature grin, pulled up to collect his winnings, race after race, that raw speed, that underdog victory, made the sting of defeat just a little bit sharper, a little bit more humbling for his rivals. The El Camino, in its own chaotic, beautiful way, might have been a mess, a hodgepodge of parts and rumors, but it was Flip's mess, and it was undeniably fast. When Tyler "Flip" Pretty tragically passed away, leaving a gaping hole in the heart of the OKC racing community, his longtime friend, Justin "Big Chief" Shearer, knew instinctively, without a shadow of a doubt, that there was only one person, one true heir, who should inherit the legacy of the Elco: Kamikaze Chris. Kamikaze Chris's story is more than just fast cars and dramatic races. It's a testament to the human spirit's incredible capacity for resilience. He faced a devastating blow, losing not just a car, but a piece of himself. Yet, from the ashes of that wreckage, he rebuilt, stronger and more determined than ever. His journey forces us to ask ourselves, what do we do when fate throws us a curveball, when our passions are threatened, when the road ahead seems impossible? Do we give in, or do we, like Kamikaze Chris, find the grit within ourselves to rebuild, to roar back to life, and to keep chasing the finish line, no matter the odds? Let us know your thoughts on Kamikaze Chris's incredible story in the comments below. And if you're hungry for more tales of speed, grit, and the relentless pursuit of dreams, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. because sometimes the most inspiring stories are found not in victory, but in the unwavering spirit to rise from the ashes, time and time again.